Let's turn now to Paris and speak to Michel Helou. He is the Secretary General of the Lebanese National Bloc, and he joins us from the French capital. Thanks very much for being with us. Your
Thank you.
reaction, sir, to what is happening in your country right now, this second wave of attacks in 2 days across Lebanon?
The main reaction is absolute shock. I think that the whole, or nearly the whole of Lebanese society is under a tremendous shock. Yesterday's attack was already massive and a huge surprise. You know, we're talking about 3,000 at least devices that exploded in many areas across the country, sometimes in areas where civilians were around the people who were mainly Hezbollah members who were holding those devices that exploded. And yesterday was already massive. And today is an additional trauma to the Lebanese society that happened, given that we're talking today about hundreds of injured people and, you know, close to 9 and 10 casualties. So the shock is tremendous. And although it's mostly Hezbollah members, militants, and soldiers that were attacked because they were the ones holding those devices, be it the booby-trapped pagers yesterday or the talkie-walkies today, still there were also many civilians around and surrounding these people, these militants. So the impact on society is huge. Hospitals are full. There are ambulances all across the capital, Beirut, the southern suburb, the south of the country, and also the Bekaa area, the Bekaa Valley. So the shock is absolutely massive, and there's a lot of emotion today on Lebanon, and in Lebanon especially, that we've been going through an extremely harsh year since October 8th, the day where the war started in southern Lebanon.
How do you think this is going to affect the internal situation in Lebanon as far as the politics? Because, of course, before all of this started, it was kind of a tense situation there right now. There was a lot of political deadlock. How do you think that this is going to affect things, and how the Lebanese public view Hezbollah?
So the first thing is we must absolutely condemn this aggression, because it is a very clear violation of the Lebanese sovereignty by Israel, specifically that it was done in ways that are also completely against international law. You know, booby trapping devices is something forbidden in international law, on top that it's a violation of the Lebanese sovereignty. So I think this is absolutely this is very serious, and it must be condemned, and the Israeli aggressions on Lebanon must stop. They have been going on since October 8th, since Hezbollah opened the front on October 8th, and they have been destroying you know, very large areas of southern Lebanon. We're talking about dozens of villages that have been largely destroyed by Israeli bombings. We're talking about hundreds of casualties, among them close to 100 civilian casualties as well. So those attacks must stop, and this is an absolute necessity. Now, internally, what we're witnessing is also that, you know, despite the very big emotion that was caused by these attacks and the pretty strong you know, support and front against Israel, however, there's also a very strong sense, first, of tiredness. The Lebanese people are fed up with everything that is happening and with this war. They want this war to stop. And second, large parts of the Lebanese population also want the state, and only the state, to protect them. And they do not want to engage into additional wars. They do not want to engage into more, you know, bombings and tit-for-tat war that has been destroying the South. They do not want a total war on Lebanon. They do not want even war against Israel, because they know that they've been going through this for 50 years, and this has only caused more and more destruction on our country, Lebanon. So on the one hand, there is a very strong support, I think, over the majority of the Lebanese population that is, a very diverse population from a sectarian religious perspective also, and from a political perspective. There's a very strong support for the Palestinian cause, and specifically for Palestinian self-determination. There's very strong support to end this war and to stand firmly against the Israeli aggressions. However, there is also very strong support against any sort of additional wars and of retaliations against Israel. I think the Lebanese people are tired and want to live in peace and stability, and this is really what we need to fight for today.
Do you think Hezbollah as an organization, is mindful of those divisions? And as you say, the sentiment among many Lebanese people that they don't want to see a larger war? Because up to now, their attacks on Israel have been very carefully calibrated so that that doesn't happen. But since we are now seeing a kind of stepping up, if you like, in these attacks inside Lebanon, that is a calculation that they're going to have to revisit now. So how mindful are they of what you were saying earlier, that too many people in Lebanon do not want to see a further escalation and a larger scale war?
Unfortunately, I believe Hezbollah is much more mindful of the Iranian strategic interests than it is mindful of the interests of the Lebanese people and the demands of the Lebanese people. And if Hezbollah opened the front on October 8th, it was clearly because it felt that it needed to support this unity of front theory that was also built by the Iranian militias, the Iranian proxies in the region. And then it kept this tit-for-tat war going on until now, mainly to preserve Iranian interests and the Iranians' place at the negotiations table. Had Hezbollah been more mindful of what the Lebanese really want, I believe they would have done much more in order to stop the war. Now, it is also very clear that on the Israeli side, Israel is escalating because they believe that they can do it now. They believe that they have the international support to do it as well, and they have the technological advantage and the military advantage in order to be able to do that. So I believe that on the one hand, it is necessary that there is more pressure on Israel in order to stop the aggressions right now, and at the same time, more pressure on the Iranians in order for them to force Hezbollah to stop the ongoing war, because this is absolutely disastrous. I think that no one is winning, and if there is one people losing, well, they are the Lebanese people that are losing, and again, paying the price for these wars.
Michel Helou, Secretary General of the Lebanese National Bloc. Appreciate your time on TRT World. Thanks very much for being with us.